critical race theory is not anti-racism. In professional mangler philosophy and former mathematician James Lindsay's book called Race Marxism, he massively oversimplifies and misinterprets critical race theory terms by cherry picking sources that confirm his bias. He does this with what he calls critical race praxis. He outlines his massive and conspiratorial grand agenda that critical race theorists apparently all agree on, as if the entire realm of thought is a monolith. These are his supposed examples of the evil CRT agenda to destroy Western society and take over the world. He claims that they apply CRT criticisms to everything in sight to raise consciousness of race. That's bullshit. Critical race theorists do not fucking do that. I've explained this a million times. Most critical race theorists study law and the American criminal justice system or civil rights, such as the civil rights movement. There are some other critical race theorists who sometimes get all woke, but not always. This is the fucking minority of critical race theory. James Lindsay is once again conflating anti-racism with critical race theory, lumping them together as if every single critical race theorist is actually a woke anti-racist. There are even differences between the same critical race theorists in terms of the book that they write. Derek Bell, I'm doing a series on his really good book that doesn't seem woke at all called Silent Covenants, but then he also wrote a novel that's really woke and just terrible and boring. So it depends on the author and it depends on their book, obviously. So this is the fucking minority of critical race theory. They're like fucking woke ones. James Lindsay is once again conflating anti-racism with critical race theory, lumping them in together as if every single critical race theorist is actually a wacko anti-racist, like I said. The anti-racists are actually the woke activist grifters like Robin DiAngelo, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and Ibram X. Kennedy. They are not critical race theorists at all. And even in terms of anti-racist, they have some major disagreements. Some are a little more cringy and woke than others too. Robin DiAngelo and Ta-Nehisi Coates are worse than Ibram X. Kendi, even though he was recently proven to be a grifter and a fraud like the rest of them. For example, Kendi disagrees with DiAngelo and Coates that people of color can never be racist. He also thinks that there is not always racism everywhere. He has said that he's never even read any critical race theory too. Kind of fucking important point right there. Lindsay's next argument is that critical race theorists want to get hired as DEI representatives, diversity, equity, and inclusion, who pose as administrators, educators, and human resources officers. That's clearly just his usual hyperbolic and conspiratorial nonsense arrived at through his endlessly cursory examination of anyone who he doesn't like. Most of these people are fucking anti-racist, not critical race theorists. This shit is also enormously exaggerated, especially today. That was a way bigger problem in 2015. It might have been one of the major reasons that Trump got elected in 2016. This is in spite of the fact that while Trump spouted some populist rhetoric, he fulfilled basically zero of that when he was president. Anyway, wokeness was fucking out of control in a few places in 2015. However, even then, these DI people were not fucking everywhere. If I understand correctly, they were also primarily just at massive universities and colleges. Those schools are where the vast minority of students go. They mostly go to smaller schools. And no, these anti-racists are not posing as anyone in order to fulfill their evil globalist agenda of destroying modern Western society, transforming it into a communist dystopia. Lindsay also says that DEI people rearrange school curriculum to raise critical consciousness of race as a system of oppression. Again, no fucking way, dude. A tiny minority of woke DEI people do this at massive universities for the most part. Also, this is much more so a belief of anti-racist than critical race theorists. Some critical race theorists believe this, but not all of them. Also, even most critical race theorists who use this more sociological definition of race certainly do not endlessly try to brainwash everyone into seeing race as a system of oppression. Lindsay's next supposed tool of critical race praxis is engaging in identity politics and activism through protests and fucking riots. Definitely fucking not, dude. You may be able to find me one or two critical race theorists who advocated for violence once, but 99.99% of them don't fucking do that. More anti-racists are okay with that than critical race theorists are, but the overwhelming majority of anti-racists still do not advocate for violence either. According to Lindsay, critical race theorists also strictly enforce mob-based bullying of dissidents, which he calls cultural revolutionary struggle sessions. That's bullshit. That's fucking Marxist terminology that critical race theorists don't use. He made that up. They also apparently reframe this as accountability. Fuck no, man. Other than anti-woke TikTok videos, that present the most woke people in the entire world as speaking for every single critical race theorist, teachers and administrators don't fucking bully students, man. Ridiculous. So James Lindsay, of course, massively fucks up the explanation of critical race praxis. His unhinged argument is that critical race theorists have a grand conspiratorial agenda. Critical race theorists' goals are supposedly to destroy modern Western society and control the world. They label everything as racist in order to raise consciousness of race as a system of oppression. Bullshit. The majority of critical race theorists just study the American criminal justice system and the civil rights movement. Activism and saying everything is racist is what fucking anti-racists like Robin DiAngelo, Ibram X. Kendi, and Ta-Nehisi Coates do. Anti-racists are the woke DEI grifter villains, and most of them have huge disagreements with critical race theorists. Also, Kendi disagrees with DiAngelo and Coates about there always being racism everywhere, and about people of color being incapable of racism. To Lindsay, woke critical race theorists pose as DEI administrators at colleges in order to forward their evil agenda of turning all of the Western world into Maoist China. No, no fucking way, man. That's wacko. It's wacko conspiratorial bullshit based on absolutely nothing. There are DEI administrators, but they don't control everything at all schools. Not even fucking close. And probably zero of them want to turn the entire Western world into a fucking communist dystopia, dude. Also, let's remember that these DEI administrators are anti-racist. They are not fucking critical race theorists. Lindsay next says that woke DEI critical race theorist villains change the curriculum to force the message down everyone's throats that racism is everywhere and race is a system of oppression. Again, a tiny amount of anti-racists might do this sort of thing at massive universities where hardly any students go. Lindsay also claims that critical race theorists advocate for violent riots and bullying dissidents. Definitely fucking not, dude. Then he fucking lies and says that critical race theorists use these tactics while labeling it as Marxist terminology. No, critical race theorists are not anti-racist, and neither of them are Marxists. Anti-racists might have more similarities with them, but they're still not goddamn Marxists. Also, the overwhelming majority of people in all of these realms of thought do not advocate for violence. A few radical Marxists certainly do. I don't know of even any anti-racists who do that. And zero critical race theorists make that argument. Also, 99.999% of teachers never fucking bully students. Give me a goddamn break. Critical race theory is not anti-racism.